What is up, guys? We survived the kidnapper, but now he's forcing us to do try not to get scared.
And the creator of this is IMR Scary
Tales. So please don't copyright us. And let's start the video.
Freshman year was my first time living away from home, and I was supposed to be stepping into the best years of my life. But honestly, I was way more stressed about having to share space with a total stranger. All that anxiety kind of melted the second Rhea showed up on move-in day. She was quiet, studious, and almost ridiculously polite. She helped me unpack without even being asked, and even offered to take the bed by the window, even though it got direct sunlight. We got to talking about our majors, where we're from, and clicked, like we were on track to be accidental dorm besties. By the end of the first week, Rhea had started leaving little handwritten reminders on our shared desk that made me feel weirdly taken care of. But some moments threw me off. I noticed it for the first time when she was on the phone with her parents. She'd been talking in her usual soft dialect before. Suddenly, her voice caught a sharp and husky undertone, as if someone had flipped a switch. When she hung up, I asked if she cloned voices like that often. She looked at me like I had grown two heads and said she knew nothing about it. One night, I woke up at 2:13 a.m. to low whispers from her side of the room. I lay there in the dark and listened as Rhea argued with someone. Her voice shifted between soft and sharp, as if two people were having a conversation. I looked
she
over,
might be possessed.
and she was alone in her bed, facing the wall. I squinted, but couldn't see a phone or anyone else there. The next morning, I brought it up. Rhea just stared at me, like I'd started speaking another language. She said she didn't remember and had slept straight through the night. She looked genuinely confused, so I dropped it. A couple of days later, the sticky notes started appearing in different handwriting and with different expressions. Instead of reminders, they read things like,
"Stop watching her. She's not your friend."
I found one taped to my laptop and another inside my textbook. I asked Rhea if she'd seen anyone come into our room. She insisted she was clueless. The day after that, I put my jacket on my desk chair and found it hanging in my closet. My shoes would migrate from the door to under my bed. They were small things that anyone would easily dismiss as their own forgetfulness. Except I knew I wasn't forgetting. One afternoon, I came back from class, and Rhea was in the shower. I was looking for my charger and opened her closet by mistake. Taped to the inside of the door was a photo of me, maybe taken from Instagram, and underneath, scribbled in that same messy handwriting, was,
"She knows."
I stood there staring, trying to make sense of what I was seeing. The shower turned off. I closed the closet door and sat at my desk with my heart pounding. When Rhea came out, I asked her directly if she'd put the photo there. She looked at me like I was crazy, said she'd never been on my Instagram. I should have moved out then, but I was 18 and didn't want to cause problems, and part of me still believed there was a reasonable explanation. That night, a storm rolled in and knocked the power out. The whole floor went dark. I was in bed, scrolling on my phone, when I heard footsteps circling my bed. I kept my breathing steady and pretended to be asleep. The footsteps stopped right next to my head. I could hear someone breathing above me. A second later, I felt the coldness of metal pressing against my throat. My breathing picked up as Rhea lowered her mouth to my ear and whispered,
"You weren't supposed to find out."
The lights flickered back on, and I screamed. Rhea was standing over my bed, holding a kitchen knife. Her face was blank, and her eyes were wide and dilated. My shrills seemed to snap her out of the trance.
Oh my god.
She looked down at her hand and started screaming. She dropped the knife and backed against the wall. She was crying and asking what happened. Why was she holding that? Why was I looking at her like that? She genuinely didn't remember standing over me with a knife at my throat. The RA heard the screams and came running with campus security. They took statements from both of us. Rhea was hysterical. She kept saying she didn't know what happened, that she'd been asleep, and then the lights came on and she had a knife in her hand. They moved me to a different room that night. Rhea was taken to the campus counseling center and then to the hospital. I found out later she'd been diagnosed with dissociative identity disorder when she was 15, had been in treatment, but stopped medication when she started college. The other personality had been there the whole time, and it was the one who wrote the notes, moved my things, and saw me as a threat. And that night, during the blackout, it had taken control completely. They sent Rhea back a day later. Her folks withdrew her from school to ensure she got proper treatment. I graduated and never saw her again. Throughout my college years, I took up part-time gigs and lived in a single dorm room that cost more than I could afford, because I couldn't share space with someone else. Can't trust that the person I go to bed with is the same person who will be there when I wake up. I know now that people can have whole other versions of themselves living inside them that write in different handwriting and speak in different voices and hold knives in the dark. I wonder what would have happened if the power hadn't come back on when it did, if those lights had stayed off for another 30 seconds, if Rhea's other self had finished what it started. I'm grateful I never had to find out.
Oh my gosh.
What a good start, isn't it?
Yeah.
All right, chat.
Chaps. Bro, that was low-key a great start. So,
Alright, so since there's a 40-second ad,
yep. Just a quick intermission. Switching camera spots. Alright. That's actually a low-key fire camera spot. Can you really see it? Yeah. I know. Oh yeah, you can like half see it. Let's see if you can see it from here. Definitely see it. Oh no, you can't.
alright, just put it back to its original spot. Just bring it back.
I'll just hold it.
Great, get off.
I really anticipate
Yeah.
when like
What are you
usually
doing?
the hours
Alright. Goodbye!